Jake All-Weather here with your podcast weather breakdown. We got a big day of severe weather coming up. We got a moderate risk of severe weather up in Illinois into northern Indiana, as well as a secondary risk down in Texas. And that Illinois Indiana risk is driven mostly by tornadoes. We got 15% chance of tornadoes there, as well as their intensity score is 2, meaning EF3 tornadoes could be possible with how good of an environment we are seeing out there. Then down in Texas, our main risk is Texas size hail. They got the max intensity score, so we could see hailstones up to 3-4 inches down there. So a big weather day all the way across the central part of our country. Let's break down why this is happening. Going into our 500 millibar pattern, it's not a very common pattern. We have kind of a split flow regime. So there's two different jet streams going across the country, which isn't what you typically see for severe weather. We usually either see one big trough across the U.S. or just pretty much westerly flow that happens. So we got a lot of moisture and instability across the central part of the country. So as we move forward, we'll see this big trough digging across Texas. That's going to spark up those supercells down there that are mainly a hail risk. We don't have the wind shear or quite the high-end environment we'd have up in Illinois here. And as we push off, you can see a little bit of a short wave moving in across the northern parts of Illinois, and that's at 21Z, so around 6 p.m. tonight. And we'll see that move on off, and that's what's going to spark off those storms there. So we have a very high-end parameters up in Illinois, but not a lot of things to spark those storms, create the lift that makes them into those thunderstorms that feast in those really good environments. So going down to the surface, we'll look at the HRRR as that does better with the short range severe weather. We'll start with the most recent one, which came out at 18Z. So looking at the surface, we'll look at dew points to see how much moisture and instability is there for this setup. So here you can see that really fine line. That's our warm front right here. You can see that. That's really tight gradient. So anywhere south of that line, we'll have that shot at strong tornadoes, as tornadoes really like those scenarios where they're right by that warm front. So anywhere south of this line, you could see those strong storms. So moving forward, we got dew points up in those mid 60s, some lower 60s. So really air with a lot of energy. It's going to be warm and humid, which gives these storms a lot of juicy energy to feast on. And we'll see those move on across. So let's look at CAPE, which is the amount of energy available for these storms to use in our atmosphere. So we'll look at that mixed layered CAPE here. As we move forward, it keeps building throughout the day as we see that daytime warming. Then we get that CAPE starting to erode as we see those storms pop up. But we'll get up into those 2000s, which is a lot of energy. Severe storms can happen with as low as 1,000 joules per kilogram. So this is a lot of energy here in our environment. And we'll also look at storm relative helicity, which is a measure of how much those winds spin with height in a favorable way for tornadoes. So we got very high values. That's probably before those storms pop up. This is really large plume of high values is north of the warm front. So you won't have to worry about that for tornadoes. You can still get a lot of hail in that region. So that's why they're also under that severe weather risk north of the warm front for those storms that could have a lot of hail. But down here in our tornado producing region, we're in those 250s, which is still plenty to produce tornadoes and severe storms, but not anything crazy high end as far as the helicities go. Oh, we do got 500 here, and that's going to give us a marginal tornado sounding. So a great environment in place across Iowa or across northern Illinois and Indiana, but it doesn't look like these storms will spark up till a little bit later. So as we move on, we're in the clear, some spotty showers before some cells pop up across northern Indiana. These would be the concerning ones. They're on their own. They're in that great environment. Still a lot of daytime heating left. These could be the ones. That's why we have the significant risk 2 out of 3 for for tornadoes. There could be strong storms with these separate little cells that pop up across northern Illinois, and we'll see those move off. We see a lot more cells move up, and then we see it conform into a line there. And we do have some snow on the back end of it. So here in Iowa, we could get some stray flakes tomorrow morning, but probably just some light rain. Going back to our severe risk, let's look at the severe weather. We'll look at with updraft helicities. So these updraft listies, anywhere you see this little gray outline, that's where there could be updrafts capable of producing tornadoes. So it doesn't necessarily mean there is a tornado on the ground. It just indicates that that storm is a supercell and has rotation. So we're getting a lot of tracks across northern Illinois, but it looks like that front kind of catches up to them. So we're looking at hopefully that front catches up so you don't get discrete storms across all of northern Illinois and Indiana, but that could be possible as we move forward tonight. So we'll see that line of strong storms. There likely will be some winds and hail in this line move across, and then we see just a lot of thunderstorms across the Midwest. Let's also look at our Texas risk for that large hail. So go down to the south central U.S. We'll see a lot of small storms pop up, but these have very strong cores, and a tornado cannot be ruled out down here too. There also is a 5% tornado chance out there, but it's just really warm, and that's going to leave a lot of fuel for all of these hail makers. Looking at our mixed layer cape, we see central Texas, we got around 3,000 again, so similar to up north, but the wind profile isn't quite the same. As we look, it's more off to the hodograph, which is a plot of the winds with height, is more straight line. It doesn't have that arc like we see up in Illinois, which really promotes that tornado risk. So here we're just looking at, there's a ton of cape, a ton of instability in the atmosphere, which means there's gonna be a lot of big drops, hail being produced. And that's why we have our hail risk for down here in Texas. And those storms will be able to stay more stacked, less shear in this environment, which is also good at promoting hailstone. So that's why central Texas, you got that 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for big hail. So big severe day across the country, especially if you live in the Chicago, Illinois area, going into Gary. So North Indiana, there also are severe chances across Kansas, Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, but nothing big. Those will be pretty localized, so we don't really have a big beat on what will happen there. Now, going into our Iowa weather for the next couple days, though, we'll bring it back closer to home. Going to our local, take our GFS. We'll see light rain showers move through tonight. Could be snow based on our temperatures. Let's see what we got here. We're going to be close with temperatures in those lower 30s. So maybe a stray flake. It won't stick around, and we'll see cold temperatures going into next week. So not a very nice. We're going to be done with our early spring. No more summer-like feels. And we're back in cold. Little bit of a warm-up. Then going into spring break, we stay cold here in Ames. So that's our weather recap. Deep dive into what's going on around the country. Thank you for listening. Jay Carl out.